Hi Stampers, it's Linda Schmidt with Stampin' with the Hounds. Today I have another fun fold card, and this is featuring the Kindest Gnomes bundle. It's a stamp set and then the coordinating dies. And then I also have the Rustic Harvest Designer Series paper to make it more of a fall card, because with this bundle, if you get this suite, the paper's more kind of like winter themed. So I wanted these gnomes, you can use them year round. You can make them spring, summer, fall, and winter. So I'm going to do a fall card because I am ready for fall. I am tired of the 90, 100-degree temperatures and humidity here in Minnesota. And fall is my favorite time of year. So we are going to do what is called a floating gatefold card. So the gatefold is just your standard, so it's half a sheet of cardstock, and then you're just scoring to make panels that come up to the center. So that's what's called the gatefold. The floating part is the mechanism that is a little pop-up piece. So when you open it up, your little gnomes or whatever image you want to pop up does that when the person opens the card. And then it can stand as well. So it's kind of a nice card to have on display too. So this one was a fall one that we're going to do. And I'm going to do a little bit different paper and kind of changed up the colors a little bit for it because I am one who cannot make the same card twice. I don't know why. Some other cards that I've done with this fold include Celebrate Sunflowers. This is one that's been around for several years. I know a lot of my customers and friends have it, and it's just one I wanted to show them that you can use the stuff you have to make this card too. So, and this one instead of doing the squares, like I had these little pop-up squares, I just did the dies. So those are what are popped up, and I just kind of double layered them just to give them a little bit of stability on there. And then I actually stamped the bee from Splendid Thoughts on there, and then also on the panels. You can decorate the panels too. And then if you're wondering, like, where do I put my sentiment? Well, you can either write here, or you can actually do it on the back too. So either way is fine for that. So that's the Celebrate Sunflowers one. The other one I did is with the Celebration set that bundle. You can get, or not a bundle, I'm sorry, the stamp set and the dies with a $100 order. You can select these for free during July and August of 2022 during Celebration. So this is the Hippest Hippo. And I kind of did some retired paper because I'm trying to go, I have so much designer series paper. I'm just trying to use up some of it on some of my samples. So this one used some paper that I had from several years ago. And so my inside pieces, I've got my little hippo in his wash tub, and then the one holding the flower. And then I decorated the little mechanism piece too with some of the dies that are from that set as well. So endless possibilities on what you can do. Super fun and easy. So we're going to get started. And what you will need for your pieces is your cardstock is going to be 5.5 by 8.5. We're going to score at 2 1/8 from either end. Okay. So let's do that first. We've got 5.5 by 8.5. We're going to score at 2 1/8. And you can either do 6 3/8, or you can just flip it over and score at 2 1/8 again. Either way works. And then this makes our gatefold. So you'll just fold on those score lines to bring these tabs to the center. And now you have your gatefold. Okay, so you can use this for anything. You don't even have to do it just for this floating part. This can just be a standard fold that you do for your card making. So that's the gatefold part. Then you'll need an inside piece, and this can be neutral cardstock. It can be pattern paper, whatever you want it to be is what's going to go on the inside. So this is 4 inches by 5 1/4, and that's just going to be adhered to the inside of the card. So we'll just go ahead and do that now. Break open a new, I think I did. I think this one's empty. Let's do some adhesive. I've been doing a lot of scrapbooking for my niece and nephew, their books, and so I've been going through my adhesive. I have to put another order in. All right, so this is just going to go on the inside. Okay, so we'll just set that aside for now. Then your arm pieces that you need to make for your moving pieces, these are going to be these strips here. Okay, so you need 2 of them, and these are 1 by 5 1/4, and then you're going to score at 1, 2, and 4 1/4. So we're going to do that now. So again, you need 2 of them, and I tend to keep the same color as what I did for my inside piece. So we're going to score at 1 inch, 1 inch, 2 inch, and 4 1/4. I'm going to do that on both pieces. So 1 inch, 2 inch, and 4 1/4. And then that is all of the scoring. So we can go ahead and remove our Simply Scored tool. Okay, so you've got your base, you've got your arms. Now we want to do our panels, okay? And these I like to do designer series paper or pattern paper. And if you notice when I did my hippo one, I actually decorated the inside of the card too with designer series paper. Because again, I'm trying to use up all this paper that I've been hoarding for years. So I'm going to do 4 of these. So here I've got 2 quantity because that's basically what I was thinking for the front of the card. Okay. But if you want to decorate the inside piece, I gotta see which way my gourds and my pumpkins are going here. Yeah, I think we'll go this way. You would need 4 of them. So if you're just decorating just the front, you just need 2. And these are going to be 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. And then again, same thing if you want to decorate the inside. I have some other, a different pattern from this Nature Harvest packet. I'm going to cut 2 more of these at the same thing, 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. So that's going to be for the inside. So we're going to go ahead. Yeah, I think I want this going this way. And we'll attach this to the front of my card. And you can double layer this. So if you want to add another layer of cardstock and then your designer series paper, just adjust your measurements accordingly. But I just did the designer series paper onto the cardstock. So just 1 layer. Okay, so that's my outside. My inside, I'm going to take and go ahead and what do I want to do? That's a lot of yellow. So I think I might just do the black on the inside. So again, this part is totally optional. If you don't want to decorate the panels, you don't have to. Okay, so now we're going to do our moving parts, okay? So you're going to go ahead and score or fold on all of your score lines that you did. And then we will need some liquid glue, and hopefully this one. Okay, so now when you go to do your arms, what you want to do is you want to make sure the one that has just the one square, that's going to be on your left side, okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to put, when you're thinking of putting this down, this has to be flush against the score line, because what we're going to do is this is going to be glued so that it's attached to this panel, and this is what's going to open up the card. So you're only going to put glue on this part here. Oh, I think all my liquid glue is. There we go. I got anything in here? All right, I may have to get out my other one, my backup glue. Okay, so when you go to put this on, again, this has to be in that score line, and you want to have this arm be down enough so that whatever your focal point is, you don't want it sticking up when you open up the card. So you're kind of going down, I would say about an inch, give or take. And then again, like I said, this is right up against that score line, so that all I have to do is bring this down, and now it's attached. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to now this one has 2 scores. On the very last one, again, we're going to put glue on it. I'm going to keep it folded, okay? So that when I close the card, this then will be stayed down, okay? This part that has got the glue on it. So we're going to put glue on this very last one. Keep this folded, okay? Then close your card, and then just put some pressure so that now your mechanism is in place, okay? You're going to do the same thing on the bottom. So now this piece needs to be attached to here. And then again, same thing. So like it's going to be attached to that panel. So we're going to put glue on this one square. And then same thing, I'm going to go up about an inch, give or take. My edge of this cardstock is right into that crease. And then I'm going to bring this one down. So it's stuck to this side. Then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to fold this one. I'm only going to put glue here. And then I'm just going to close this. Kind of hold it for a minute to make sure it's held down. And now my mechanisms are attached to the cards, to the panels and to the card base on the back. Okay? So those are your arms. Now, you want to choose images that, like on my hippos, you know, I just did the actual dies themselves and I attached them onto the arms. And the same thing with my sunflowers. I just chose an image that would stick right directly onto the arms. But on my gnomes, I had done some squares. You could do these. I just cut. These are actually a retired layering scallop squares that we had, but I don't tend to get rid of a lot of my dies. I tend to keep them because I do a lot of scrapbooking. So these are, again, they're retired, but again, you can always cut squares yourselves. And I'm sure a lot of you already have these scallop squares on hand. So now you know what to do with them. So what we're going to do is I had taken the Ferns 3D embossing folder, and I had taken some crumb cake, and so I had cut out 2 squares, and these are about 2 inches. They were, oh, I just lost my, let's see here. Yeah, I think these were like just a little over 2 inches, because it was whatever it was coordinated with the square. So and I stuck them in the folder, embossed them. So that's all on the crumb cake. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take the raised side, so it's facing you, and I'm just going to give it a little bit of dimension by taking my blending brush, and I'm just going to apply some ink. I'm just going to burnish. I got a little heavy-handed here on this one, but that's okay. It'll be covered up by the gnome. And this just kind of makes that fern image just pop a little bit. So if you're concerned about the heavy inking, start on your silicone mat and then work your way onto the cardstock. And I just really kind of focus more on the edges because the center part's going to be covered up with my gnome images that I've die cut. So this is just adding a little bit of dimension, circular motion. Okay. There's that. Okay, and then these can be adhered onto, just going to wipe some of this ink off so I don't get it on there. So I'm just using my chamois, Stampin' Chamois, just to clean off my silicone mat. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and layer this onto a scallop square, which was the Mossy Meadow cardstock. And again, if you don't have the scallop squares, just double layer, just do another square layer of cardstock. Okay, so there's that. And then my gnome images, I've already colored some of these just because it takes so much time for coloring these, but I will color the one other one I've got here. So let's go ahead and color this last one. So this guy is going to go on the front of my card. I was thinking, so I kind of changed up my mushroom colors a little bit. And then I was going to do a girl on the inside, and then we'll do the little boy gnome. And we're going to do Stampin' Blend. So I am using, for their skin tone, we have the new neutral tones. You get all of these colors that are all skin tones. And then what I did is I made a little cheat sheet just so that I could see what it actually looks like on the cardstock. And this is just basic white with it, and then what the numbers are. So they don't really have names, or they're just numbered. So this is always kind of a little handy reference that I have that I keep in my tool thing. So we're gonna do, I think it was 700. No, that's a little peachy. That was what I did on his boot. So we're going to do 700 on his boots. And then I'm going to take the 600 and just give a little bit of dimension. It just kind of blends in there. And then for his skin, the 1000 is like more what I use like for the cheek colors. So I'm just going to do, this is 900 for his nose. And then, let's see here. I think I'm just going to make his hands. Sometimes I do these as mittens, but I'm just going to color it as flesh tone this time around. So that was the 900. And then I'm going to go back with the 1000 and just add a little bit for his mouth. And then I just do a little bit of shading on that. So that's all the natural tones. And you get all of these. So all these colors come together as a set. Usually the Stampin' Blends are just 2 to a set, but this one you get all of them that are here. So. Okay, and let's see. And then, so this is inside. She has a green hat. We'll have him have a Cajun Craze hat. So I'm going to start with the light Cajun Craze first. And just quickly color. And then I'll go back with the dark Cajun Craze, and I just do a little bit of highlighting with the finer point, and then I'll go back with the brush tip and kind of blend a little bit better. And then I always like going back again with the lighter color and just blending everything together again. And then as it dries, you can kind of see some of the more of the dimension with it. And then we'll have him, we'll do Mossy Meadow for his little jumper. And as I've been doing these gnomes, it's been so much coloring. I've noticed a lot of my some of my Stampin' Blends, I really need to replace them. They've started to, the brush tips have seen a little bit of wear and tear on them. So time to replace them. And then same thing, we'll go back with the dark Mossy Meadow and just kind of add some dimension. And then I just go back with the light and just blend a little bit so it goes together. And then for his beard, I either do sometimes gray granite. I think I'll do the gray granite. So I've got the light and the dark. And I'm just taking the light and just adding a little bit of dimension on there. I'm going to go back because I can see now as this is drying, I want to make this a little bit darker. And then what I like to do is I like to take a white gel pen and just add a little bit of highlights with it. So this is totally optional, but I just kind of like, this is my little take on it, my little flair that I like to do. Totally optional. Okay. So now all of those are colored. Now we're just going to assemble these. So let's go ahead and let's do our front. So like I said, I was going to do the large mushroom And I'm going to kind of keep this kind of on the diagonal. And just kind of looking at how I want to do this. Okay, so I'm going to make sure I'm only putting adhesive on the half part of my square. So I'm just going to use some tear and tape just because I don't want my focal point falling off. And then you just want to make sure that your adhesive isn't showing. So I've got a little bit kind of showing. So I'm just going to press that glue underneath so that it's not showing. And then the mushroom, again, I'm just going to make sure, now this is going to be hitting all of this, so I can just put glue all over it. Down. And then for my gnome, I am going to pop him up with some dimensionals, so I'm just going to put a couple of dimensionals on him. We'll just kind of like so. And I think I have to move this one. I just realized that. So yeah, make sure as I mess up, whatever your adhesive, make sure that it's not going to be showing, because you don't want it attached. You don't want it sticking to that right side panel. So there's our front. Kind of fun. And now for our inside, we'll go ahead and attach our squares. So on here, you just, since this is going to cover the entire arm, I want to make sure I've got adhesive running all the way across that. So again, I'm just using tear and tape. You can use whatever, if you want to use the glue, if you want to use your stronger adhesive, you can do that too. All right, so we'll just peel these off. Actually, I should just use my take pick tool to help this release easier. Okay. And then just put that kind of centered on that arm. And then I can go ahead and glue my gnome on here. And you could just put the gnomes directly on the arms. If you do that and don't have the squares, I would cut another layer of cardstock and just shadow it behind it, just to give it a little bit more support, if you do it that way. And then before I put this on, just because I want to make sure I've got my saying, I was going to do... Yeah, because before you do your saying, you just want to make sure you've got room for where you want it. So I'm going to go ahead and put this. This is a retired saying that was from, I think, Country, what was it called? Country Home. It was in the catalog for quite some time, but then they finally retired it, I think last year. But I still kept it just because I really liked the sayings that were in it. Do that. And then we'll go ahead and remove this. Attach our other square. Again, just kind of center it on the arm. And then your other gnome, go ahead and adhere that on. The card. And I just make sure everything is pressed down. And that is it. That is your floating gatefold card with the Kindest Gnomes stamp set and die cut. So thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to my channel, Stampin' with the Hounds. I also have a Facebook group, Stampin' with the VIP Hounds, as well as a page. So I always I post ideas and cards there. And I look forward to stamping with you again soon. Thanks and have a great day. Bye-bye.